Alright everybody, so with Season 22, Bungie went ahead and added new strand aspects for every class. However, for this specific video, we are only going to be focusing on one of the new aspects, that being none other than for the Titan. We're talking about the Banner of War strand aspect. So this new aspect, let me tell you, it's pretty awesome. If you look at what it does, when you defeat a target with a melee attack, a finisher, or sword, you are then going to raise a Banner of War. This Banner of War is going to be pulsing with energy, periodically healing nearby allies, and increasing melee and sword damage. Targets defeated by you and nearby allies charge the banner, increasing the speed of its pulses, and it maxes out at a ×4. And not since the days of pre-nerf shield bash have I had this much fun with a melee build. Ironically, also on a Titan, because what do Titans do? Eat crayons and punch stuff. Now, of course, bonk is fun and all. Also, total side note, but the new gloves for the Titan turns your burning wall into an insanely powered one-off super, but that's a story for a different day. The point is that this shit fries. And if you are bringing multiple people running this setup, against bosses where you mainly can just get your biotic enhancement buffs up, dude, you're going to be cooking. And even in situations where you can't, just a Banner of War buff to your melee damage in itself is really good. And the most fun part, at least in my opinion, is we're not using rockets. In fact, the most important weapon that you could argue for this entire setup is a 1-2 punch shotgun. Why? Because against bosses, the 1-2 punch perk gives your melee a 75% damage buff. It's kind of nice. You combine that with your Synthoceps Biotic Enhancements buff, which once again I think is 200%. Yeah, Biotic Enhancements is 200% increased melee damage and then 50% increased super damage. So Synthoceps and 1-2 punch alone are juicing up your melee damage by about 275%. And then we add in the new Banner of War aspect, which at the time of me recording this, I do not know its exact values, but let's just say it's definitely noticeable. Almost as noticeable as the biotic enhancements. And almost as noticeable as the discounts over at Instagaming, where you get your games and their DLC for a cheaper price. Top link in the description. I just winked at the camera, but you didn't see that because I don't have a face cam. Alright, so now that we've talked about the headliners of what makes this setup actually cook, in layman's terms, whenever you put this build on, you basically become a sous chef at a 5-star restaurant. You're just back there whipping it up and going to town and making a 5-course meal, some delicious damage, my boy. It tastes so good, everybody is in line, and they can't wait to get a piece of that action, aka Banner of War. Let's go ahead and take a further look at the subclass, the armor, and the other weapons. Although your weapons really is just that 1-2 punch shotgun. Build subclass breakdown. Let's go. Alright, I'll be real with y'all. Most important thing, Banner of War. Defeat a target with a melee attack, finisher, or sword to raise a Banner of War that pulses with energy, periodically healing nearby allies and increasing melee and sword damage. Targets defeated by you and nearby allies. Charge the banner, increasing the speed of its pulses. Out of all the footage that you have been seeing throughout the video, I don't know where I'm going to put the breakdown part of it, about 90% of it we had ×4 on our Banner of War buff. A few times it was only at ×3, like against Zomag for instance, but he still got folded. And then I'll be real, bro, the fragments really don't play the biggest. I mean, threat generation, always a good one. Threat avoiding is always good just to keep you alive. And then same thing of running threat of transmutation. And then maybe threat of fury, because believe it or not, my man, your 3-strand melees with the buffs and a tractor debuff on the enemy, it does some pretty nasty fucking deeps. I'm not even trying to shit you, dude. Massive deeps. These are important. Very important to the setup. Maybe in some situations, threat of propagation could also come in handy. Grenade options, I would recommend a threadling grenade or a grapple grenade. And then I'm also just running into the fray for a little bit of extra woven meal for some extra survivability. But keep in mind, man, the Banner of War's healing capabilities are very good by themselves. And then for your armor mods, don't think about it too crazy. Go with the momentum transfer too. That way your grenade actually feeds back into your melee charges. Like I said earlier, those hit like a truck. I'm running 2 things to recoup, maybe run a surge or 2 for whatever your heavy weapon is. If you're running solo, you'll be on tractor cannon, so don't even worry about that. But if you do have the ability to run like a heavy weapon like Anarchy or something like that, surge definitely helps. Then I'm also running triple outreach on my class item, along with some way to make orbs. But the most important component out of all of your armor are going to be the Synthos Seps themselves. Just the fact that you get biotic enhancements really juices up the damage. I think biotic enhancements is like a 200% buff, something pretty fucking nasty. Point is, these are very important. And then for your weapons, they're really not the most important thing. Believe it or not, the most important thing that you need weapon-wise is a 1-2 punch shotgun. Wastelander works, Ragnil works, any 1-2 punch shotgun works. If you are on tractor cannon duty, put on a tractor cannon. If you are not on tractor cannon duty, maybe get some form of a dot, an anarchy, or with a horde works well, but your abilities are what's going to be doing the juice. Alright, so, you know the main core of the setup. I just went ahead and shared you what I like to use with this setup, subclass-wise, armor-wise, and weapon-wise. However, there is a bit of a certain way you want to go about doing this so you get the maximum amount of damage, especially out of your 3 melee charges. So first things first, if you are going to use this build in its best scenario, you're going to have your biotic enhancements up. Even in some situations where you can't get the biotic enhancements up, let's just say Keitel for example, you can still cook. But for the sake of explanation, let's say you're in an encounter where you can definitely get your biotic enhancements up. Well, while that might be a little bit annoying, it's 1,000,000% worth it. And then the other little micromanaging that you have to do for the setup is keeping Banner of War up itself, which it's really not that hard to do. First of all you need to do to get it rolling is a melee kill. I mean, you're a Titan with Synthoseps. Getting a melee kill, it doesn't have to be a charge melee kill, just a normal punk. It will start the chain going. Or get a finisher or a kill with the sword. Any kills you get extends it. Any kills your teammates get while they're in their little aura of your Banner of War, that also extends it. So if you're in a situation where multiple people are running this, which is such a great idea by the way, it's really fun, then micromanaging your Banner of War is going to be easier than you think it is. It caps out at 30 seconds, and for most damage phases, that's going to be long enough. So your damage phase starts, you have your biotic enhancements procced. The first thing that you're going to want to do, pull out your shotgun with 1-2 punch, shotgun, melee, shotgun, charge melee, shotgun, charge melee, shotgun, charge melee. Then once you dish out your 3 charges, try to remember and throw in a threadling grenade before you pop your super. It's okay if you don't. I sometimes be forgetting to throw my threadling grenade too. It happens. Especially heat of the moment, heat of the damage phase. It happens. It's going to slip your mind. But try to remember to throw in your threadling grenade after you have dumped your first 3 melee charges, and then that's when you're gonna pop your Blade Fury. Your objective with your Blade Fury is to get through the entire super while still having your Banner of War buff up, and ideally also having your biotic enhancements buff up. If you're the only person in your fire team that is on this setup, as soon as you pop your super, do the double swing attack and then immediately just go into spamming your light attacks. The light attack spam is insane because you're having Banner of War and the Synthoseps buff. You are chewing through that health bar, my guy. And then when you come out of your super, you're actually gonna have another 3 full melee charges ready to go again. So what are you gonna do when you come out of your super? Do exactly what you did before you casted your super, and you're gonna dish out those 3 melee charges, each of them having a 1-2 punch shot to buff it, while still having the Banner of War buff up, and ideally still having your biotic enhancements buff up. It sounds like it's a lot, but really it's not that much setup from what you're getting out of it, bro. I'm just keeping it a stack with you, my boy. Anywhere where you can get this setup rolling, do it. Do it. It's really fun, and it's really good. I'm going to be trying taking this against some more raid bosses here in the near future, so be on the lookout for that video. But thank you for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the build in the comments. Make sure you guys are safe out there, consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one.